Have you ever sat at your desk for hours reading, highlighting, underlining, and rereading your notes, only to realize you barely remember anything the next day? You're not alone. In fact, over 90% of students make this one mistake that costs them hundreds of wasted hours every year. And the worst part? They don't even realize they're doing it. Let me show you what I mean. Meet Alex, a hardworking student who genuinely wants to succeed. He wakes up early, skips social events, and even gives up hobbies just to study more. He's determined, disciplined, and dedicated. His room is filled with color coded notes, highlighters, sticky tabs, the works. But there's one problem: he's using the wrong strategy. Every day, Alex sits down, opens his books, and reads his material over and over again, thinking that the more he reads, the more he'll remember. But what he doesn't realize is that this method, passive review, is almost useless when it comes to real learning. Here's what's happening inside his brain. The first time he reads something, his brain says, "Okay, that's interesting." The second time it says, "Oh, yeah, I remember this." By the third or fourth time, it just zones out. It feels like he knows the material. But if you asked him to explain it without looking at his notes, he'd freeze. This is what psychologists call the illusion of competence. It tricks students into thinking they're learning when in reality, they're just becoming familiar with the information. Familiarity is not mastery. So, what is this one big mistake 90% of students make? They confuse reviewing with learning. And the more they do it, the more time they waste. Reading and highlighting might make you feel productive, but it does very little to build strong memory or real understanding. So, what should Alex and you be doing instead? Let me tell you about one small shift that can make a massive difference. It's called active recall. It's simple. Instead of reading and rereading, you test yourself. You close the book and try to recall the information from memory. You ask yourself questions, explain the concepts out loud, or even write them down without looking at your notes. At first, it feels harder. You'll get things wrong. You'll feel frustrated. But that struggle, that's where the magic happens. Every time you try to remember something and fail, and then look it up, we're actually reinforcing that memory pathway in your brain. You're building real, durable knowledge, not just surface level familiarity. And it gets better. Combine active recall with something called spaced repetition, where you review the material just before you're about to forget it, and you'll see results most students can't even imagine. Instead of studying for 6 hours and forgetting 80% the next day, you'll study for 1 hour and remember 90% for weeks. Alex didn't believe this at first. He thought, that sounds too simple to work. But he gave it a shot. He created flashcards, quizzed himself after each chapter, and started doing weekly reviews. In just 1 month, his test scores skyrocketed. More importantly, he had more free time. He wasn't chained to his desk anymore. And the best part? He finally felt confident. Not because he memorized every detail, but because he could explain and apply what he learned. So if you're stuck in the cycle of endless studying with little to show for it, remember this. Studying more doesn't mean learning more. Studying smarter does. Don't fall for the illusion. Break the habit, put down the highlighter, close the book, and ask yourself, can I explain this without looking? If the answer is no, good. That's where real learning begins. Have you ever spent hours studying, reading, highlighting, underlining, only to forget everything the next day? You're not alone. I've been there too. But let me ask you this. What if everything you thought was studying actually doesn't work? In this video, I'll reveal the one mistake 90% of students make, the one that wastes hours, days, even weeks of your time. Want to study faster, remember longer, and actually feel confident on test day? Then stick around. This might change the way you study forever. And tell me in the comments, how do you study right now? Do you use active recall or are you stuck rereading like most people?